I'm ready. Are you ready?
We're going to begin, so you all by the door could find a seat. It would be a very nice thing to do. I really like to be sure I have a quorum, though I have no idea how many that is.
I'm in the forum.
Okay, that's better. There we go. Think there.
We begin with our chalice lighting. This lady right here.
This is called the half of the chalice.
Can you all hear this lady? Yeah, listen, Barbara, this is my accent.
As we light the chalice, may our souls become its heart. We join our hearts to the one great flame of bright compassion, beloved community, and fervent justice. May we become lanterns to the world, lighting the way for all. And this is part of the sixth principle. And that was written by Bear W. Kolezuka.
You wouldn't know if it's right or
You all
wrong.
know that name.
No, okay.
Thank you, Gerald. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We welcome people of all backgrounds, identities, ethnicities, gender, self-understandings. What am I leaving out? Tell me later. Anyway, we hope you feel welcome. It's more than words. We hope you feel it. We're meeting in an informal way in July and August because we really like to look at each other. And we feel there's a better sense of community and intimacy and getting to know each other here. Is there anybody here for the first time that would just tell us who you are? Yes, who are you, lady?
I am Stacy Van Lannen. I live in New Mexico.
Oh.
And I'm here, I'm a dear friend of Pam Corbin's.
Oh.
And she has asked me to come today.
You're a co-worker, flight attendant type
We
person
met
from way back.
back in 1973.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you want to just, we'll split up the joys and sorrows and take yours now because we're all anxious to know.
Okay. Pam really insisted I come today. I don't know if you're aware, she is in the hospital right now. She collapsed Wednesday at home and laid on the floor for several hours, unable to move. But a neighbor, who generally brings her a smoothie every afternoon, found her and called 911. So what happened was that she told me to tell you guys everything.
Okay.
So I'm telling
Well,
you.
let's not say everything, but go ahead and say it.
So she had a bowel obstruction that she wasn't aware of, and the doctors weren't aware of it. So everyone's been asking her to eat, you're getting too thin to eat. And meanwhile, she wasn't able to
blocked.
process any of the food.
Yeah.
So she's in the hospital probably for another couple days, and then she'll be able to go home. And she was supposed to start some chemotherapy on Friday, which is why I came. But they're going to have to postpone that till she is better from this little setback. So she did ask me, I got her mail, and I took her all the cards. She had quite a few. And we went through them yesterday. She was so thrilled to get them. But she does ask that she's very weak and tired, of course, and focusing on getting better. So she's going to ask that you keep her in your thoughts and prayers and let her reach out to you when she has the time and energy.
Thank you, Stacy. We're really glad you're here.
Yes.
And when you're finished taking care of Pam, you'll be ready to move on to the next person here that needs you, right? Did I see your hand go up? Are you two visiting or with somebody to tell us who you are?
Yes, hi, my name is Erin. This is my daughter Dylan. And we've been living in Thailand, but we are here now. We have a house here that we usually rent out during the year. We come every summer. I grew up down in Palm Beach Gardens, but we are going to spend the school year here. And I have previously attended Unitarian Universalist churches when we lived in different places. And my daughter was very curious to come along with me today, so we're really happy to be here.
What's your name?
This is Dylan.
Dylan?
Yes.
Like Dylan Thomas? Bob
That's
Dylan?
right, that's right.
Thank you, Fred. Fill in Fred after the service, please. He's been to Thailand, I think, more than once, haven't we? We also want to hear from Janet. You're doing the Mandala program, right? Can you tell us briefly what you're going to be doing?
Yes, I am going to come on Monday.
You said Tuesday.
Well, I had another conversation after you. And meet the lovely and talented, not lovely, well, maybe a little talented. No, never mind, finish the grid, I finished the top part, the graphics of the church, the top, but we're gonna come up with the grid, so I think the easiest thing to do is have it be a lot clearer, and then really find the people and say, give them the piece.
Are you saying tomorrow you're coming?
Tomorrow, we're coming.
And are you inviting people to come along with you to join this, or just?
Well, what time do I meet from?
Oh, I could live at 12.
12, okay. So we'll meet here at 12 tomorrow. We'll get it ready so that on Tuesday, which is what Tia and I talked about, we can meet again. I'll bring it in again, and then we'll have the grid done, and whoever comes in can get their piece.
Okay, so for those who don't know, and I don't know, but I've heard that the mandala is a combination art and spirituality project with the healing of people in mind. And we're doing it now because we have a couple people in mind for whom we want healing, we all want healing. So that includes Pam and Cindy and others. So that's happening tomorrow at 12:15, if any want to come.
And also Tuesday, and then I think, once we are, see, it seems like a lot of people leaving on this. So, you know, I have a couple of people who want to work on it, but I'm leaving for 2 weeks, I won't be back until. So anyway, I think it's gonna be just little spits and spots until.
Okay, well, thank you, Janet, for doing this.
And we need to keep in touch with Jenny about when you're coming and going. So
I did leave her,
Well, why don't the two of you talk about that after the service? Can we go ahead now as if there's going to be a regular service, and there will be a sermon, a brief one, and you'll all be invited to take part in that. And what else can we do? Here we affirm. Let's get to our affirming. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Back to our sharing of joys and sorrows. I was in touch with Cindy this week, Cindy Summers, and asked her how she's doing, and she says, I'm doing fine, I'm just concerned about Pam. So we're happy to hear that Cindy is continuing to do better and feel better. Indeed. Who else has a matter of joy or sorrow or concern that they want to share? This is Fred.
Stop spreading. Wrong man. As you've seen, not seen me, we've been traveling for like the last 6 weeks. We went to Bali, Thailand for a week and a half, and then we were home. And then I went up to Syracuse. We had a wedding of a dear friend of ours from Saratoga. And then I had a visit with my daughter Erica, Zach, and Haven, our granddaughter. And then we went to Syracuse to visit my sister, one of my younger sisters, who had her foot amputated last week. And unfortunately, when we went to see her, she was in dialysis for her kidney problems, so we weren't able to see her. But when we got home, I got a phone call from my son-in-law, my other daughter, who just got a liver transplant at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, which she's doing fine from, but when she got out of bed Thursday, she fell and broke her hip. So this poor person has had one thing after another. But I'm happy to say that Ronnie and my relationship is improving.
Fred, if you had hair, you would have gray hair. I would think
I got gray hair.
But we just wish the best for those who mentioned who need prayers and support. Who else? Matter of Joyce, yes, Regina.
I have to say that we had 3 Joyce. We were gone most of July visiting family. We saw our 2-week-old great-granddaughter.
Wow.
We celebrated our oldest grandson's graduation from college, much to his parents' relief. And then we had a 70th birthday party for my sister, which was really lovely. So it was a good.
Lots of joy.
Yeah, it's a number of good stuff.
Anyone else? Shari. Whatever works. Just shout out.
Yeah, it's easier.
Okay.
Good morning, all. I have a sorrow to share. A good friend of mine passed on Thursday from dementia, or rather the residual stuff of dementia, because she was dehydrated. She was in her mid-70s, and I've been encouraging her for years to drink water. She didn't like the taste of water. So she'd have her wine in the afternoon and the evening. All I can say is if you're gonna have a glass of wine, please follow with 2 glasses of water. She left way too soon, but she chose to leave because she only recognized her husband occasionally, and her daughter she didn't even recognize. So please drink your water and encourage your little friends to do so.
Anyone else? Well, let's have a moment of silence and share the thoughts we want to ourselves toward those we mentioned and maybe those we haven't. In our spirit of life, we hum it once and then we sing it once, seated or standing. Before the offering, where's Alistair? We forgot to say again, it's your birthday tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Right. And are you celebrating in any special way?
celebrated yesterday.
You had it already.
Yeah, I had it already. I went to
I
Stuart.
would make the whole month your celebration. Oh, why not? 16. Does anybody here remember being 16? Well, I'm sure it's a fond memory if you weren't getting into trouble like some of us. Okay, and now I'll try to stick to the schedule and our morning offering. We hope to show generosity. We always invite your generosity, so we can keep on, we will showing it. Does somebody want to pass the plates or take them or whatever? Just remember to bring them Also this summer, as part of the service, I'm reading poetry from some of our poets past and one is still with us. I'm reading two poems today by Bertie Carvia. Bertie was really active here a decade ago in the book club on Wednesday and singing with her sister Leslie and Leslie's husband Dan. The last I've heard about Bertie is that she's in failing health in her home on Halpatioke off of Palm City Road. But these are some of the poems that she included in her booklet that we printed. The first one is entitled, Love for Sale. I disarranged the roses store tonight while I shopped and then unshopped myself to sanity. A vain attempt at what I'll call heartbreak prevention. Seeking permanent retreat, I nearly purchased 2 more pairs of shoes I didn't need. My feet well shod for flight, too many times to mention. As I shoved my cart from aisle to aisle, I unbought a rolling backpack when faced the fact that even though on sale, it could only wheel itself to somewhere else, your memory and habits at unbidden moments. Then I dreamed of sailing aisle to aisle, that's I-S-L-E, sailing aisle to aisle, a pirate stalking all the treasures of the world, accumulating one huge pile of goods that I could stash my grief beneath. At that, I woke up laughing at the ease of sweet relief. And the second one is called Peanut Butter Blues. Peanut Butter Blues. Every morning, my baby girl takes 2 slices of store-bought bread from the rust-colored Frigidaire, pops them into the toaster one by one, decorated them with a peanut butter spread, then plops her knife in the kitchen sink. And every morning while I stand scouring our breakfast breakfast bowls and dishes, which gives me time to think my baby's getting old enough for bigger chores. I end up with an irritating case of peanut butter fingers as I try to wipe those dang utensils clean. Heck, my baby's not a baby anymore. She's 3 times 5, a whole 15. And I'm still getting peanut butter fingers. It may there be no cure for this affliction. It may be peanut butter fingers are my personal addiction. What will I do when she leaves for college? I'll have clean fingers and an empty heart while she's out there seeking knowledge. I'll be missing the mornings when I couldn't get my peanut butter fingers spread apart. Bertie Carbian. Now, young lady, I trust you get more than peanut butter sandwiches than you do. Good. They're still good. The 6th principle, world community, and then the 7th will be mine next week, and then the Jay is going to take us to the 4th, search for truth and meaning. I was thinking early this week, there's nothing quite like tragedy to remind us the world is one and the world is small. I was thinking that because of that earthquake off of northern Russia in the Pacific, 8.8 off the coast, and the tsunami that came to threaten everything in its path. I guess it petered out. I hope it did. I didn't hear of any loss of life. Then I remembered, as you have, the terror attack of 9/11 brought phone calls of concern and support from Europe and solidarity with the U.S. from around the world. Wow. I was thinking this morning, listening to the news quickly, it's not just tragedy. The fact of an American pope is kind of an inkling of world community. It was a happy thought and reality when we heard it. But in reality, the concept of world community and any organization to get us there, to bring it to reality, has been a tough ride. And most of you know that, many better than I. The League of Nations. Now, who was alive during the League of Nations, which didn't happen? It was President Wilson's brainchild, at least so I learned, but the Congress opposed it. This was try to prevent World War II. Well, the League didn't happen, but World War II did. The United Nations came to birth after 2 world wars to prevent a third. When my young family in the 70s drove from Long Island often to Anaheim to see my in-laws and the mice, you know the mice, Mickey and Minnie and Tinkerbell. We got an education in the American deserts about American isolationism, with the billboards through the desert, "Get the U.S. out of the UN." Good old American isolationism. That sad story of the young man with a brain disorder he blamed on football, the young man who drove from Nevada to a Park Avenue, New York address with an NFL office. You know, in America, nothing underlines quite like indiscriminate gun violence. We seem to have a thirst for it, a sad history of it. So he kills 4 innocents, and one of them is a proud immigrant from Bangladesh. So we discover there are Bangladeshi communities throughout the U.S. like that fallen policeman the NYPD and NYC gathered to honor. Every 4 years we have the Olympics, and we watch our own compete, and we count who gets the most medals. But as we watch, we get little bios of competitors from abroad, and all of a sudden, we are rooting for them too. Can't we be rah rah USA and rah rah the world? Nationalism has been a natural historical development and a blight. Up until the last century, countries thought they could just take other countries' goods and land and people. Nationalism, because might made right. White Christian nationalism is a curse, and hopefully the last gasp of a dying anachronism. Why aren't there more condemnations of it? Now, I've heard many Christian leaders and evangelical Christian leaders condemn white Christian nationalism, but not enough. It is anathema to Christianity and to world community. Now, Judith asked last week, what is a Christian and what is happening to Christianity? So I just couldn't keep my mind from going there. What is Christianity? The appeal and the spiritual magnetism of Jesus has always been his practice of servanthood and compassion. Words attributed to him like, inasmuch as you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. Those words that had the power to keep some of his followers asking, who are the least of these among us? And how are we treating them? We've been thinking that lately. I also like and need to hear, don't judge others because the mercy you give will be the mercy you get. And why do you see the speck in someone else's eye, but not the log in your own eye? And that stickler of Jesus, now Pam and I have talked about this a few times. Somebody asks him, how many times do I have to forgive? 7 times? And he responds, 70 times 7, meaning endlessly. Forgiveness can be difficult, which doesn't make it less necessary to get on with living and loving. Now, to be clear, it is not just Jesus or Christianity where we discover the values of compassion, but for me, that's where it got neon lit. Too many evangelical Christians have made a detour. Jesus became about their afterlife, and that's not what he lived for. It isn't something he talked about a lot. The billboards up I-95 remind me what saved is all about. It is all about me. And white Christian nationalism seems all about power. Power. And power over people who are different. That's what it seems to look like. Where's the servanthood and compassion? A bumper sticker in the 70s still speaks to me because I still think it's true. The Christian right is neither. That's what the bumper sticker said. Christian right is neither. World community. You should love your own country. Without proclamations, we are the best. I hate to hear that from any world leader. We are the best. A lot of you have been around the world as we have been. There are some nice places in the world. Should we wear a t-shirt that says America is the best? You've heard of the ugly American. Who else would? Who needs to say that? Who needs to hear? Whom does it serve? Now, to me, too much religion has been disgustingly stuck in a childishness. Mine is better than yours, and mine is the real one, and mine is the best one. That doesn't shed light on the greatness or the mystery of deity. But it does shed light on my smallness and insecurity. World community means we can grow beyond that, hopefully before it's too late. Now, these sermons are to invite you to think about and share briefly how we can apply this principle, world community, in our lives. So my part is ended, your part is invited. Who has thought? Jim?
Good morning. It's always fun and interesting to hear about the travels and international travels of people that are in our church. And Jay and I travel a lot, and you're right. When you get to these beautiful places, you start to weigh. I give up my life in America, or come live here forever. And of course, back to our home or our heart. But I think just bringing this to our awareness that we have a responsibility to just be a wonderful, loving, kind person wherever we are. And we're in other countries, sometimes representing America, sometimes representing whatever, and just to be consciously aware as we travel, like you said, that there are beautiful places. So bring it with you, I guess is what I'm saying. Bring our goodness with us.
Who else has thoughts about how we can make this principle apply? Judy,
I'm not going to do what you just said, but,
you want to come to the mic?
no, I can speak loud.
Oh, you
I have a
can.
teacher voice. I was fortunate to have made the decision and gotten the approval of my parents to finish my university education in Mexico City at the University of Americas. And up to that time, I had pretty much felt like I pretty much learned that the United States of America, wonderful, we did no wrong. It was really, of course, but which I learned because I did end up marrying a Mexican from Mexico City, the father of my children. And wow, and he was very well informed, very educated, and he really opened my eyes. And I think sometimes it is necessary to go somewhere else, to live somewhere else that is wonderful, that has wonderful people, and realize that, hey, it is a world community.
Anyone else? Geraldine?
I was reading in the newspaper this morning, or on my
Can you all hear her?
I was looking up in the news this morning how Australia has had this fantastic walkabout for on a bridge. I can't remember exactly where it was, and there's thousands and thousands of people who live way in Australia against the carnage that's in Gaza.
Yes.
And I thought, well, there they are, all the way over there, isolated really, but they care about the rest of the world as do we.
Sure. Thank you. Anyone else? Fred?
Ronnie and I lived for 2 years in Mogadishu, Somalia. We got to know the people very, very well. And we've come to the realization there, China, Thailand, we travel the world. People everywhere are just like us. If we could do away with the political strata, the people themselves are just like us. They have the same hopes, the same wants, the same wishes for their children, and it's just a shame that we couldn't come together as a world community with about the politicians every year.
Anyone else? Yes, Lawrence.
I've traveled extensively, like around the world. I don't think greed is the worst thing, no matter what country it is. You always have power, greedy people, and that's what really destroys humanity.
Yeah.
And politics and religion, you know, they're two separating also.
I think Mark Twain said you can't travel, I know Rick Steve says it too, you can't travel the world without being larger-minded. It makes you larger-minded. Mark Twain also mandated that his autobiography be printed a century after his death because he thought Americans would feel differently about him if they knew he thought that greed was part of the American character. And he lambasted that in his autobiography. For what it's worth, we have to think about that. For what it's worth. Who else? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I went to India once, but I really think something that separates us is that saying, people say, how can they live like that? Because we have our way of living. So we tend to, and that isolates other people, like, oh, I can't relate to them, how can they live like that? I remember we went to a very poor community, and we went into this, you know, the thatched roof, and they had mats on the floor, and a big stone for turning bread into meat, and they were actually doing really well for their community. And when we left, the guy said, no, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for these people. Because these people, in the context of their life, they're very happy.
Yes, I've heard that often too.
You know, but so many people are blinded by, oh, it's not a split level, it's upper,
Yeah.
it's not this, it's not that, that they can't see other people.
Yeah. Yes, Jen.
The problem that I see that is competitive with greed is the lying or the state of reality that we're perceiving. And that just has blown me up this past, I don't know, 10 years. That was never something you thought about, or I thought about, and now it's like there's nothing that's really solid if everybody can just make up their own thing.
And that's scary, the thought of it is scary. In a whole other area, pardon me for the levity this might introduce, wherever we've gone in the world, on most of the continents, we've discovered adorable cats living outside. Unfortunately, my wife has agreed we can't bring any home, but we've always found a store with food which you have to learn to throw because you don't want them following you, but you do want to feed them. Animals own the world too. Anybody else with a thought how to apply world community? Well, you'll be thinking about this. We all try to do it. Yes, Ronnie?
Is that we need to start when children are young, that they go places. Like my parents sent me on a plane to Canada when I was 16 to visit relatives I didn't know. And that opened my world that there's other places, other ways of being. And I became a world traveler and have learned so much by that. But when we stay in these little close communities, some people never even leave their state. So they don't ever understand the difference. The differences are not that different.
Yeah.
You know, that we're all the same, we just kind of express it differently.
The segue on Ron, I met the 16-year-old Canadian girl once. She really opened
Oh,
my eyes.
Fred, thank you. Thank you, Fred. Yes, Bud.
You also have to understand economic systems. Pure communism does not work. Pure socialism does not work. Pure capitalism does not work. So when you're opening your mind, you have to do it through economics as well as
isn't as much pure in the world as we think, ourselves or others. Yes, Judy. Well, you guys really got going here. Go ahead.
Yeah, because, you know, based on what Kim said, and the things that have been
Speak
said.
up again.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know, so you have these, because I've seen that too. I mean, not everybody has the opportunity to go places, right, and see different places. But I saw in Mexico also, you know, very poor people who looked like they were happy. It seemed like they were happy. However, you have all these young people who decide they want to leave the farm, so to speak, and go to the city where there's stuff, where there are things, where they can have a better living. You know, how do you deal with that? Is that greed because they're wanting more? You know, how in the world do those young people get educated to accept a certain kind of happiness that is unrelated to stuff?
Yeah. This tells me that greed is a problem for us if I didn't need that otherwise. There's a mental health crisis in the U.S. There are 2 criminals out there who have killed people in Montana and Tennessee. And I think I heard they both have mental health histories that have not been dealt with. And we hear that over and over again. We're not doing enough for, like the guy that came to Park Avenue. You can't stop people from doing a lot of things, but we aren't dealing with it well. We haven't invested in mental health well enough, even for vets. I mean, the number of vets who are under the bridge and places like that, it's a terrible thing. We just don't invest in the care of people, and that's got to be in part because I don't want to pay for it. Okay, listen, we could go on, and you're here, I can go on. Now, Stan, I have some homework for you. Next week, it's the interdependent web. So I'm looking at the scientists among us to fill in where I have missed. So you got the week off. Just think about that. Thank you all very much. What's that?
This is the week he starts back to school.
Oh, well, I'm sure he still has time off. No. Ministers have to make that assumption and we can't survive. Thank you all for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Feel free to share them over coffee. And now, closing words. I just gave them. Geraldine, would you blow this out? Whatever it takes. Stop it.
Yeah, don't burn your hair.
Very. Wow. Go in peace and practice world